Take exit 105 off the Garden State Parkway. There's a bar band that plays in town, down on their luck, fronted by a soulful, sleeveless troubadour, singing for the lonely. But his words ring out with enough electricity to light up Atlantic City, baby. So change your shirt and head to the bar. Catch the band one last time before they make a break for the big time. You might see lovers revving their Chevys in the night to meet across the river for an everlasting kiss, while cracked pavements burst with a blue-collar ballet. A couple beers down the hatch, and it seems like the whole world is walking pretty. Catch a whiff of the great working-class escape dream as it whistles down the back streets, drifting in and out of reach like breezes through back porch screen doors. But don't linger too long in town. It's a death trap, and there's a jungle out there, waiting for you to run into its arms. Hi, I'm Isaac.
And I'm Julia.
We are friends, amateur musicians, and music lovers who believe that full albums are an art form all their own, greater than the sum of their parts.
This is For the Record, a podcast where we turn off shuffle, ditch the algorithm, and listen to one great album from start to finish.
Today, we're talking about Born to Run, Bruce Springsteen's third album from 1975. We'll break down the key themes, musical elements, history, and context, and discuss how the album holds up today.
Let's go, boys.
Hey, Julia.
Hey, Isaac.
And hey, Matt, who
Hey,
we're
Matt.
thrilled to be welcoming into the studio today.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to our studio, which is actually your studio. So thank you
it's my
for
apartment.
hosting us.
You are very welcome.
And what a great occasion to be here to talk about a
The boss.
staggering album.
Do you think if he was going to say the boss in his own voice, how would it sound?
The Boss.
Yeah, it would be like that.
Hi, I'm
Or
the
he wouldn't do
boss.
it.
No, he probably doesn't call himself
He
the
actually,
boss.
I read something that he actually was really uncomfortable with the nickname when he first got
I
it.
heard he hates it. Like, he
Yeah.
still doesn't want to be referred to as that. He doesn't like it, but it's kind of too late.
Look, he's a working class hero, and like the boss is the in many ways the enemy of the people. I don't know,
That's
metaphorically
so
speaking,
right.
at least.
You're
you
so
know?
right. He is the
I
enemy
get
of the
that.
people.
I think he got the nickname before he was famous, like when he was younger. Like it wasn't like I'm a musician now and I'm going to be the boss of rock and roll or something. It was just like a name that someone gave him when he was young.
Oh.
I mean, it makes sense. He takes command, he takes control, and
He certainly does.
it's Bruce's world, and we're just living in it.
From this album, it feels that way because it really is like you're in his story.
Totally.
It's why I love it so much.
Yeah. So Matt's here today as a friend of the podcast because we thought it would be nice to have another voice, another opinion. And also, he loves Bruce Springsteen.
So much.
So hopefully you can bring us some insight into Bruce, into Born to Run, into everything.
Yeah, there was no one better for us to have on this podcast, so we're happy to have
Thanks,
you, Matt.
guys.
No one better for the job.
Thanks, guys.
So why this album? I won't say I'm not a Bruce fan. I don't know that much about him. I would love to hear about like why this album. I know it's not his most famous or maybe even the most popular. So any insight here?
I mean, Bruce Springsteen was my first concert
Really?
ever. I was a young man at the
Young
Pepsi
man.
Arena in Albany, New York.
Young boy.
And I don't know. I mean, this album specifically, I came to when I was a little bit older, but
Mhm.
dancing to Born in the USA was a ritual for me. I used to dress up in blue jeans, a white t-shirt, and have a red bandana hanging out of my pocket like he's wearing on the
Like
cover of that
non-ironically,
album.
like
No,
that was your.
like that was my thing at age like 5 or 6 was
That's so funny.
dancing. So Springsteen has been in my life for a long time. I think he's singular. Like he's a brand all his own.
Mhm.
For me, at least, it's hard to pin down exactly what's so great about
Bruce,
his music because there's so much about it.
Mhm.
But at this point, he's just an icon. Like he's bigger than any one of these albums or
Yeah.
the songs or whatever his sound. Like he's the boss.
It's about feel. Like there's just a feel when you listen to Springsteen records that, like, at least for me, it's all about excitement and nostalgia. My dad, it's his favorite artist. I grew up hearing stories about seeing him until 4 a.m. in New York and, going to Jersey to see shows sometimes. Or, one of the first shows I also went to was Springsteen on his solo tour, which was not as great as seeing the whole band. But still, I mean, it's like a thing I remember so dearly. Listening to Born on the Run specifically, I think is an amazing experience because my dad is a big greatest hits guy. So we used to listen to the Bruce greatest hits album, but then when you put Born to Run on, you're like, oh, all these songs are greatest hits anyways. So it doesn't matter. Like
They're all hits.
it feels similar to that kind of experience, but
Yeah.
then you listen to it and you recognize how, cohesive it is from start to finish. And it's just beautiful. And like all things considered, it's not my favorite Bruce album, but I actually disagree with you. I think it is his most important album by far.
I don't know.
Controversy.
I don't know if I said it's not his most important. I think that's arguable. It's not. It wasn't his most important to me.
I think let's take a step back. As someone who really just doesn't know anything, and my favorite album is Born in the USA, which is 10 years after this album, going back to his early days, his early career, setting the stage.
Bruce Springsteen is arguably New Jersey's greatest export.
Yeah, you both mentioned New Jersey. So.
He is a Jersey boy through and through. I mean, like, I don't know where he lives these days, but
probably
he was born
still New Jersey.
Probably still Jersey. He was born in 1949 in New Jersey, so he grew up in, I don't know, the post-war. He sort of lived through the post-war American boom, and his career started sort of at the dawn of, I don't know, the tumultuous 60s and 70s. He was inspired to become a musician after seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, which is, I feel like, the most quintessential rock and roll origin story a musician can have.
Welcome to the 60s.
Totally. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, he just fell in love with music, started and played in a handful of hometown bands through his adolescence. In that time, he actually, through local musicians, met some of the musicians that would end up in the E Street Band. He signed to Columbia Records when he was young, in his 20s, and released his first album in 1973, Greetings from Asbury Park, which was critically acclaimed, but kind of a commercial flop.
I heard that about the first two albums.
Yeah,
right?
So later that same year, he released his second album, The Wild, The Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle.
Greetings is my favorite of all of them. I love it so much.
Maybe there's another episode waiting for us. So yeah, later in 1973, he released his second album, which similarly, like, critical acclaim. People really saw him as a Dylan protege, just in terms of his ability to paint lyrical pictures and, I don't know,
both lyricists
conjure up images of Americana, but it was also, had a limited commercial success. Took a little bit more time leading up to Born to Run, the third album. Played lots of live shows to test new material. Collected more members of the E Street Band, which solidified in the process of creating this album, which we'll get to a little bit more later. He went back to the studio in 1974 and 75, a couple different studios in New York, and really was ambitious about making this album a success. So he brought new production techniques, was totally meticulous.
I've heard he's a perfectionist, which we use as like a slanderous word,
derogatory,
but, right?
But it paid off, and it ended up being his breakthrough album. I mean, it made him from an East Coast phenomenon
Bruce,
to
ya star.
Yeah, Bruce, you made it big, buddy. You're born to run. And I mean, it was in its day, it captured, I think, like, the restlessness of the post 60s generation, and today it just holds up on, like, the sheer quality of the songwriting, the sheer power of the songs. It's in the Library of Congress for being culturally significant. I mean, it's electric.
There's like a lot of context even there that adds to exactly what you're saying. Like, I think the failure of those first two albums really weighed on him in a way that he felt it was his most urgent, task, goal, what have you, I have a quote somewhere that he basically wanted to create the greatest rock and roll album of all time. Yeah. But because of those failures, he felt like the process had to change completely from start to finish, that he had to work with these, different producers, different managers, different musicians. Granted, some of the musicians left the band, but it really, like, weighed on the process in a way that made him one of the hardest working men in rock at the time because of the process he put behind his songwriting and recording, etc.
I mean, I think, like, speaking about the urgency, the label was going to drop him. This was really his last chance to, like, push forward as a musician. I think you said Columbia Records, maybe that's where he was at this time. But I think whoever had signed him had already moved on to other projects. His first two albums were commercially flops. And so, like, this was really, I know he speaks a lot in absolutes, but, like, this was his last chance. Like, this needed to be successful, or, like, possibly his career and the band's career were going to be over. And actually, both of you spoke about the band. I don't know much about them.
Yeah, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about the E Street Band, which is, like, intrinsically linked to Springsteen's career, like to his music throughout his career, but this album especially, I think, is a turning point for his relationship with them. Tell us more.
I think what you're really talking about is the heart stopping, pants dropping, house rocking, earthquaking, booty shaking, Viagra taking, love making, testifying, death defying, legendary E Street Band.
God damn, I guess I am.
I didn't know that I was, but here we are.
I mean, that whole spiel is how he introduces the band during his shows.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. It's like, especially during 10th
So those are Bruce's words about
These
his
are
band.
and he even added a couple words, especially the testifying, death defying, once a couple of the members died. But
God.
the E Street Band, I think, is underrated in how they impact Bruce's success. Specifically starting with
This
saxophone
album.
player
Sure.
Clarence Clemens. I mean, he is in every way the yin to Springsteen's yang. Like, they are inseparable. I actually think that they are the most important rock duo that is not between songwriter and, songwriters, or two guitar players and a singer, or a bass player and a drummer. I mean, like, outside of the traditional roles of rock music, I don't think there's a single duo like the combination between Springsteen and Clarence.
And so to clarify, Clarence is the saxophone player.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, who features like heavily on this album. That's him.
Feature is not enough, I think.
He's also like a brand all his own. He also happens to be, if you look at the cover of this album, Bruce is sort of leaning on someone's shoulder who's just out of frame.
Oh, that's
That
him.
is Clarence
Oh,
Clemens.
okay.
It's a big
the
picture that
man.
opens up and he's leaning on him. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And like, I think it's a perfect representation of their relationship, that like Bruce really leans on Clarence across the board when it comes to helping to, create this sound that is so strong all the time. Like, I don't have any other word to say because it comes so much from his horn. Like, here's a comment from Clarence was, Bruce and I looked at each other, didn't say anything. We just knew we were the missing links in each other's lives. I mean, it's
Oh,
beautiful.
cute.
Like, they really love
It's
each
a
other.
bromance.
They're soul sisters. Yeah.
They love each other so
Love
much.
it.
But that's just Clarence. I mean, the rest of
Tell
the
us
band.
about the rest of the band. Yeah.
Okay, so this album is a really important moment for E Street because they kind of had a couple band changes. First, with the drummer, they bring in Max Weinberg, and also on keys they bring in Roy Bittan, and the two of them together, I think, created a sound that became so crucial to how they feel throughout the rest of their time together, and especially in their live performances. I mean, Roy's piano playing is like really, it's just there in a way that fills the gaps. And Springsteen writes everything on piano often.
Yeah, I
and
read
then
that.
kind
Yeah.
of brings it out on guitar or whatnot. But I think that these piano solos really fill the gaps. I mean, look at the Backstreets and stuff like that, where it's like so big. Max is like such a professional, but still has this power in the way he drums that Vinny, I forget his name, that like the former drummer didn't really have.
Who was on the first two albums?
His name is Vinny something. I forget his last name.
Okay, so really the grouping you're talking about is are the musicians in the band on the Born to Run album.
Yeah, exactly. And it really helped form this unit that became one of the most exciting bands in live music for the next 50 years.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I think that's so important about what they took from this. Additionally, I think that there's some culturally related things that would never happen in my eyes. Like guitar player Steve Van Zandt joins to basically arrange the horns on 10th Avenue Freeze Out, and he becomes, a massively influential, not only guitar player within the band and kind of the guy Springsteen leans on during shows, but he's also Silvio Dante in Sopranos. Like, what does that character look like without him being, this magnanimous personality that comes from the E Street Band? Even further, like the success of this album and the sound that it gets from these people, how does it impact his, the success he has down the road? Does he get to Born in the USA if he doesn't have a success here? Probably not.
So you're saying the band is like instrumental to the success of this album and then, the success of the next couple albums. Okay.
In every way possible.
I agree with everything you're saying. They are intrinsic to his sound. It's also a big band for a rock band. Like they're I think 10 total, sometimes one or two more or less depending on the tour, but it's a big band with a big sound, and that was really critical for this album, which Springsteen approached trying to emulate Phil Spector's Wall of Sound.
I was waiting for you to say
production.
Wall of Sound. Yes.
Yeah, which I think this is maybe a good turning point to like get into the
recording.
Yeah, the recording, the production of the album. I mean, it's the Wall of Sound ethos essentially is to have these massive multi-layered tracks where there's just like no gaps, all the spaces fill. It's this really like
grandiose
lush
feel.
Perfect word. And the E Street Band with this like raw power and everything that makes them so electric on stage is so well suited to, you know, that ambition for the studio. And that was like, I think what set this album apart from his first two. So the fact that the band was there to fill in those gaps, like really push this album out to the world. Both like literally and metaphorically.
I mean, I think embarrassingly, having not really listened to his first two albums, I did immediately notice sort of the blend of like rock and the orchestral feel. And I didn't think that much about where that sound was coming from. And now I'm understanding, you know, from both of you that that's like a huge collaboration between him and this big band that like creates this really big sound.
In a lot of ways, I find that they're the greatest wedding band of all time. It's like really, it's like you take it's like the mid 70s. You're kind of taking that like Earth, Wind and Fire feel and adding them to a rock band in a way that feels so natural. Still feels as bold as rock should be, but still has that like I don't know, that rounding out with the horns and
pop appeal.
But that's what he's known for, right? Is like fusing genres. This is like rock, and also there's the folk aspect of with the storytelling, lyrics, and the R&B. He's got all these beautiful sounds that you don't necessarily hear in rock music coming from all of this different what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, they're amazing. They really
instrumentation maybe, but
they fill the sound in a way that I think you don't see rock bands trying to do often, unless it's maybe in a specific track, right? Like a song, you're like, oh, we need horns for this. But here they have it. You know, they have a saxophone player who's essentially acting as like a guitar player in a lot of ways.
He's almost like the lead guitar.
Every time there's no real guitar solos, they're sax solos.
Right. I mean, I think what's interesting is it was such a ambitious plan to put out an album with this kind of sound in such a pivotal moment for his career. Like, he's taking a lot of risks, and I really think this could have gone in either direction, especially based on what we know about him, like how meticulous he was and how like hyper focused on getting the perfect sound. Like, I know it took about 14 months to record this entire album, which is most people don't have that much money and they don't have that much time to re-record and re-record and re-record. And I think even the title song Born to Run took at least 6 months and features more than 70 different tracks, which is, that's the wall of sound, right? Like, that's the amount of layering it takes to get that big, beautiful sound, but 70 tracks is crazy. Like, especially
with the tech of the time. And there were also, they had issues with the equipment throughout and like false starts on certain
it's a dedicated
songs,
man.
Endless takes. It's he talks about this album as like both lyrically and also sonically wanting it to sound cinematic. And I think there's an apt comparison between like him and a film director in that sense. Like, we hear these stories of like Stanley Kubrick, meticulous, doing endless takes and like that's how you make a great movie. That's how you make a great album. It's all about like little choices and having someone at the helm who, knows when to call it and knows when to press play again.
Yeah.
My final thought is that he had a lot on the line. He had a lot to lose.
There was a lot
he put in the work and it paid off.
Aptly said.
2 studios, 14 months.
Yeah. Was it only 2 studios?
Yes, I believe it was.
I just know it was multiple studios.
914 in New York and the Record Plant.
I mean, it was a whole thing. This is a whole process.
They got her done.
What it's interesting to me.
That's what's important.
Like the process of recording it. Like, you talk about how long it is and how costly it is to record something like that, especially when your label is like getting ready to drop you.
Yeah.
The one thing it did was it made them work harder on the road. And like
the live aspect,
the reps that they got either during the recording of Born to Run or afterwards when they had like a dispute with their former manager, like they really had to put the time in on the road. And it's the reason that they sell out every show still to this day, are still playing 3.5 hour shows sometimes. Like he's not young, but he's still getting out there with the energy of a man that is 25. And that
he's really a man of the people. He's dedicated to the craft. I respect that.
Yeah, totally.
Not a diva. Well, I don't know.
He's probably a little diva.
He might be a little bit
He's a little diva.
diva.
Sure. How can you not be when you're that big?
When you're Bruce Springsteen.
So Bruce the Diva finally puts out this album in 1975.
Mm-hmm.
And Julia, I wanted to ask you a little bit about like the music landscape that this album comes out in. Like,
Sure.
you know, the 70s are an iconic decade for music. Like,
Yeah.
arguably the best.
I
don't
know.
know. It depends who you ask. But, you know,
I might say that.
to
you're asking
be,
me.
you know, to have your critical breakthrough come out in the landscape of some wonderful music, it's
Mhm.
worth sort of seeing what else is out there.
Actually, what I thought was interesting is in both 1975 and 1976, Stevie Wonder wins the Grammy for Best Album. Two different albums,
He
one after
probably
the other.
deserves it. I mean, he's Stevie
Yeah.
Wonder. Come on.
Literally perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the 17th annual Grammys, Stevie Wonder wins Album of the Year. Olivia Newton-John, I Honestly Love You, wins Record of the Year. And Barbra Streisand, The Way We Were, wins Song of the Year. So yeah, just a different
But
time.
Sounds like pop music taking over.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. Like all three of those, and like whatever, Stevie Wonder is also like soul and Motown, but all
Mhm.
three of those artists are a much more polished pop sound versus like
Yeah.
the raw rock working class energy.
I think it's newer.
Yeah.
For this time period, he
Totally.
doesn't sound like the Beatles, like the rock bands, so to speak, that were popular during this time. Bruce doesn't sound like them.
No, he doesn't. I
But,
mean, I'm just gonna rattle
go
off some of
ahead.
the rock albums that came out.
Please.
Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti,
Oh,
Wish You Were Here from Pink Floyd,
wow,
Patti Smith's Horses, Fleetwood Mac's self-titled album.
it's a great album.
Paul Simon put out an album that year.
Mhm.
Joni Mitchell put out The Hissing of Summer Lawns.
Wow.
Like
Okay, there's a lot going on.
Bob Dylan put out Blood on the Tracks in 1975.
I wish
mean,
that
like
meant more to
talk
me.
about a good year for music. But you're so right that like Bruce exists sort of somewhere in between the like folky
Yeah,
troubadour of Bob Dylan,
Dylan, right.
and the like, you know, operatic bombast of Queen's A Night at the Opera,
Yeah.
which also came out this year, but
And-
it has a
yeah.
punk edge like Horses, and it's a special
Right.
blend. It's a special
rock
sound.
music is changing. I actually looked up kind of like what was going on the year this came out, and unfortunately spent about 20 minutes in the year 1976, which this album did not come out in 1976, and I had to backtrack. I mean, I had like a nice time learning some history, but I will add that 1975 is the year the Vietnam War ends, and he doesn't speak on anything that I know of that directly relates to this, but I do find it really interesting that they're coming out of like a 2 decades long war affecting mostly like the working class. If you were, you know, elite, you didn't draft to Vietnam. You could get out of it. This is following, you know, a decade of protests against the government, against the war. And I think a lot of music at the time is informed by this. You have thousands of Americans being killed. And I think like the ideas of like escapism and the American dream, like there's a lot on the line right now for Americans. And I don't know to what extent that like informs this music, but it was interesting to me.
I think it entirely informs this music. I think it's also part of what makes it such a like resonant
Mhm.
album. And actually
Yeah.
there is a little bit
Okay. No, I wasn't
about
sure.
Vietnam.
This is just something I thought
I mean,
about.
it's not explicitly an anti-war album or an album
Mhm.
about the Vietnam War, but in Thunder Road, he's got the lyric, "There were ghosts in the eyes of all the boys you sent away. They haunt this dusty beach road
Mhm.
in the skeleton frames of burned out Chevrolets." Like that's about
Yeah.
the boys sent to Vietnam, and the characters that this album paints its stories with
Mhm. Just
are
the everyday man.
are those
Yeah.
forgotten working class people who fought for their country and were neglected when they got
Yeah.
back. And
I mean, America turned their back on veterans, on soldiers. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
really sad time for America,
Yeah.
and America loses this war. So it's also just a hard time to be an American
Yeah.
all around.
That's like why this album is like a way to show the skeleton of America in this way.
Like
that,
stripped down, this is America.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like everything's kind of burned away. Everything like the flesh is gone. This is just like the
Napalm.
core of America. This is just the core of America
Yeah.
post-war. You know,
Yeah, it's
from
a
the working
reckoning.
class. Exactly.
It's self-reflection. I mean, I think Bruce at this time in his career was, and certainly sings about, the working class heroes that John Lennon wishes he was.
So true. Shame. I
Mic
don't
drop.
want to shit on John Lennon. But
Should we maybe talk about some of like
Themes?
these bigger themes that run through the album?
I would love to.
Matt, what you got?
It's like this coming of age story that resonates with me as someone who doesn't listen lyrics first, because I can think back to what it was like when I first listened to the album, and maybe I wasn't listening to the lyrics, but there's something about it informing how I was growing up, because I didn't come from a working class family. So like those type of themes don't really hit
I don't
me
think
the
any of
same
us
way.
did.
Resonate, but
yeah.
they're clear.
But I recognize them.
Sure.
Yeah, I recognize them. But
Yeah.
there is something about this, I don't know, like the album starts so hopefully and kind of ends on this kind of downer, even that's masked.
Yeah, there's
through-
like a skepticism towards, right.
Yeah,
you're
it's
talking
like
about.
dreams getting crushed kind of over and over again, but the journey isn't over kind of thing. I don't know. But like nobody loses hope. That's like the interesting thing, which is kind of nice in a coming
Yeah,
of
or
age
the
story.
beauty of the
Yeah.
message, I suppose.
It's one of the reasons it's a great album is because like the music bridges that gap that you're talking about, Matt. Like the angst of this big sound that just feels like pent up frustration, you know, yearning for beauty, like waiting to burst out. That sense of the music itself, like the way it sounds and makes you feel, is reflects what the words are talking about and like what his intentions are with the stories he's telling. So it's great.
Like here's a quote from him, I think, that is like about as it's like simple, but it really captures it well. It's being on a journey, having someplace to go, but I don't know where that is yet. Like that is like exactly what it feels like to listen to this album when you really listen to the lyrics and see that kind of, it's just about people kind of, I don't know, spinning in place sometimes, making bad choices, but still trying to deal with them and move forward.
Yeah. And I think often searching for companionship. I don't know if Bruce Springsteen was a lonely man, but I think like you can trace sort of like loneliness and like human relationships throughout like the story that is the start to finish of this album.
And it's less of like a personal loneliness. It doesn't sound like he's necessarily even singing about himself.
Right.
But
That's
he's
why I
singing
said
about,
I'm not sure if it's him, but
he's singing
it's
about
there.
the collective loneliness of
Feeling
small-
lost maybe is better, or
small town malaise, restless youth.
Feeling
These are some of the
trapped.
themes I've written down here. The romanticization of the open road, you know, like yearning for whatever the America that Kerouac wrote about and watching that American dream slip away. Like, that's what this album reeks of.
And what makes it work so well is that I don't know if there's a single artist who writes about relationships better. Like the relationships between any two or more people. There's just like something about the way he informs through his lyrics, through the music, that all these relationships feel lived in.
Yeah, totally.
Like even if you don't know these people, you still feel like there's something that you can get from them.
And it's not just romantic relationships, it's friendships. His love songs
Working
are
relationships.
more like songs about people who have and experience love, but they're not like love songs explicitly. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I find him to be very hyperbolic. I couldn't find a better word, although that's not really the word I would like to use. But it's always about all or nothing. Like, baby, this is our last chance, or this is our only chance. And he just speaks in these sort of absolutes that I find very interesting. And it must resonate with people from this time, you know?
Well, I mean, that's sort of the, like you were saying before, how his music pulls all these different influences and that makes it so unique and appealing. Like, that's what pop music is all about. Like, tonight, you know, it's the last night and we gotta like party like we're gonna
dying
be
tomorrow.
Like, yeah,
The
we're whatever.
apocalypse.
We're gonna be young forever. And like he pulls that off.
Yeah. Better
with
probably.
like poetry. Yeah. In
it is
true,
very poetic
like,
the way he does it.
beatnik, you know, working class poetry. And
Absolutely.
But it makes sense because
totally.
he was in theory on his last legs.
Yeah.
Right? Like if he doesn't have that experience, perhaps he doesn't write from such a desperate and hyperbolic place.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's a perfect opportunity to move into some of the music.
Some superlatives.
Yes. I mean, even before we get to that, I would love to talk about Thunder Road, which is the first song from this album. It was never released as a single. Why are you shaking your head?
No reason.
You know, I can see you, right? So this song is considered one of his greatest songs. Rolling Stone ranked this 111 on the 500 greatest songs of all time. And I think there's a lot of musical similarities between Thunder Road and Born to Run, which I think ties like this and the album together really nicely. It's like, the opening with the harmonica is like the beginning of the day. I know that Springsteen spoke about this album sort of being like one day, it goes from day into night and then ends with Jungle Land, if I'm not mistaken.
Hell yeah, it does.
Yeah. But I think this is like the perfect invitation to the album. And it's like truly a famous song in its own right, despite not being a single and not, coming to mind, I think, for me at least, when I think of Springsteen.
It's easily his best song. Like I think hands down,
Whoa.
it's easily the best Springsteen song he's ever done. Like there's something about the feel of it, the lyrics, the opening the album with this, everything about this song is the best Springsteen thing. Mm-hmm. You have the tenderness and like I don't know. I don't know the best words to describe it, but it's like you start on this kind of, more acoustic-y, like you said, the harmonica, and you move into this kind of more explosive side. You finally see the rest of the band come in, and it's like, oh, this album isn't just going to be an acoustic singer-songwriter thing. It's going to be a full band, and it's going to smack you in the face with a little rock and roll. And it doesn't show itself in the beginning.
It's dynamic. It moves and it grows and it tells a story all the way. And as more instruments come in, like you're saying, it feels like the starting up of a day. Maybe like you've got shitty job waiting for you, but you have those brief moments of the sunrise. You step out into the porch. There is opportunity in the air, and you feel that in the song.
I think it's funny when I played this through the first time, before knowing that we were going to do this album for the podcast, I thought to myself, this is a boy album. I was like, this is boy music. And it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. But that was my initial reaction. And then the more it went on, even within just this one song, I was like, this is dancey. I was like, I could dance to this. And I did feel that throughout the album, despite maintaining that this is boy music. That doesn't mean I don't like it. It's slightly less relatable on a deep personal level for me, but I can still appreciate this is good music.
It also, I think, has the most recognizable lyrics of one specific line that's not, in a chorus. I don't know if there's any line that's ever stuck out or struck me in a way that the first time you hear the song, you're like, oh, that's an interesting thing. Is show a little faith. There's magic in the night. You ain't a beauty, but you're all right. It's
yeah. I mean, it's coaching you and not.
It's it's an obvious choice.
I thought, oh no, is that me? Yes.
But I think it's not the best lyric he's written. There's better lyrics inside this song.
Yes, but it stands out. You're right. It stands out.
So one of the things I think is most interesting actually about the song is the confusion with the lyrics. Do you know about this thing with Mary's dress sways versus waves? This is a huge thing that apparently was on their website incorrectly.
This is deep cut Springsteen.
Oh yeah, this is
knowledge.
No, this like I said, this is in my eyes his greatest song ever. But on the Bruce Springsteen website, they had the lyrics wrong, and they only changed it recently-ish. That they came out and were actually the lyric is screen door slams, Mary's dress sways. For years, I believed it was Mary's dress waves. And honestly, I'm a little disappointed. I think waves is better.
I think sways is better.
But waves doesn't make sense. Can we all agree on that?
I like the idea of personifying the dress, kind of acknowledging
the dress
that he's
greeting this narrator.
Yeah, that he's as opposed to just kind of being an onlooker, seeing her, that the dress kind of is the thing that kind of said something to him first.
It's crazy to me that a lot of people were thinking that. Enough that they got it wrong on the website.
Yeah, they got this wrong for years, but what are you going to do?
Whatever. Bruce had the last laugh. It's a great album. Wave it or sway it. It's fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's great stuff.
I would love to get into categories.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Matt, you just gave us your favorite song.
It's not my favorite song.
Okay.
It's not my favorite song.
Oh my God.
All right, so kick us off.
I actually gave superlatives to every song while I was preparing because
Let's start with your favorite.
My favorite one is, it depends on the day, but the answer is Jungle Land. It is an absolute masterpiece.
It's 9 minutes long, or it's 7 minutes long. It's long.
It's long. It is.
It's a whole story.
Yeah. Easily the best song. I think it's their crowning achievement is that song. Of all the...
It is special.
What I'll say, I mean, I would say that Thunder Road is my favorite song on this album, but my honorable mentions would be Born to Run and Jungleland. And those are kind of the like beginning, middle, and end of that album. And if you're thinking about this album as like a narrative arc, it has those peaks and valleys of you know, it has its climactic moments and its introductions and resolutions.
Totally.
And just the flow is great. The placement of the songs is great.
Well,
and Thunder Road is a masterpiece.
It's just a heater from Born to Run down to Jungleland, though.
Yeah.
It's not a long album, but those last 4 songs are just about as perfect of a 4-pack as you can get.
They rev your engine.
They definitely rev my
totally
engine.
Disagree, but we are different people.
Julia, preach it.
No, well, I'll give my favorite song first while we're here. It did change. I'll agree with Matt. My favorite song changed. I know, Isaac, we've talked about this before, where I feel hesitant to pick the most famous song as my favorite. What I picked was 10th Avenue Freeze Out. I just love the saxophone on this song. I mean, I've always been really into the saxophone.
That's Clarence, baby.
Yeah.
Clarence Clemens.
I read that this single was what they called a chart dud. People did not like the song. Maybe they didn't get it. I think over time it became more popular and people realized, oh, musically, this is a fantastic song. It just stood out to me. Every time it came on, I was like, ooh, I like this. And I did, of course, my honorable mention would also be Jungleland, because I will say, though, I like the first half of Jungleland. So when Jungleland comes on, I get excited. And then about halfway through, I get tired of it. And then it shifts back to not being my favorite song. But I do appreciate what Jungleland was trying to do, and in some ways does. Should I just say my least favorite song?
Yeah. Wait, I wanted to go back to 10th Avenue Freeze Out for a second. Is that I wrote that it's the biggest bop on the album, actually.
Biggest bop.
I think it is
Good
also it's probably the most important live song on the album. Like the song that they play later on, it's a song they introduce the band. I mean, they really blow it out. And like I listened to on the album and I'm almost disappointed because it doesn't have the full sound that it has.
I'll need to listen to the live version.
And I think it's so understated in the best way. That's why I was like so excited that that's your choice. It's amazing. And also it's like goes back to the Steve Van Zandt stuff. That like he was just a friend of Bruce and he was like, can you come on and help arrange the horns for it? And he's like, sure, I'll arrange the horns. And then they're like, what if you just joined the band as a guitar player after that too? Like that's like, that's the juice for me right there.
That's the juice. Isaac, you had something to say. I watched
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, just like you're saying, like I didn't know actually that this was what they intro the band with. That 10th Avenue Freeze Out was the song they intro the band with, but it makes sense because there is a verse.
It's a band
And when
song.
the change was made uptown, who knows, maybe that's like Moving Studios, and the big man joined the band. Like it's literally talking about.
You're right.
It's a Getting the Gang Together song, and it is
We
a
love
bop.
to get
Like
the
it
gang
really,
together.
it's got a sort of like
Yes.
sway to it that's just like fun.
Absolutely.
That's great.
All right, least favorite song, guys.
For me, it's Meeting Across the River.
Disgusting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Julie, I agree with you. And Matt, look, we were talking about this the other day. You told me that used to be your least favorite song, and now you love it.
What happened?
So maybe with time I will get there. But for me, it's the one album that like slows.
It slows down in the middle. It takes a while to pick back up.
It cuts the current of what's otherwise so electric about this album for me. And it's still a great song. Like I'm happy to listen to the song all the way through. No skips any day of the week. But that's the one that for me is an outlier. Tell us why you love it, Matt.
Okay, so as I was thinking about what my favorite
He's
song was.
He's like getting red in the face. He like needs to tell us this.
As I was thinking about what my favorite song was, I realized after listening to this album a million times in a row that it was the one song I never wanted to skip. I think it's beautiful. I think like one of the things I love about it is the way that the trumpet feels in it. It's almost like they're inviting someone from New Jersey to New York. Come to Blue Note, listen to some good jazz, and like, yeah, sure, hang out with some like kind of skeevy people, kind of do a little bit of, I mean, it's about like organized crime essentially, right?
It's
like,
almost like a precursor to Atlantic City, kind of. There was like some similarities for me. I don't know. In the way he's speaking about like his relationship with the other person in the song, about the man and the woman. I don't know.
It's gorgeous. And it's a perfect lead into Jungleland, which is why I like it.
Well, so, okay, but Matt, we are going to have to ask you to pick your least favorite song on the album.
It's like I told Julia earlier today, it's like choosing your least favorite child.
I know.
You know what? Everyone has one. Even
you know
if
what?
they don't admit it.
Okay, finish. Let's hear it.
My answer is it's Backstreets.
Okay.
And I know it's unpopular, and it's like I love the song. Every time I tell myself that it's my least favorite, I listen to the Roy Bittan intro part, and I'm like, I mean, maybe not. I think I like this a lot. But like, it's just when you have to choose one, it's the one song that I actually consider skipping.
Just to clarify, like we're covering a lot of amazing albums, a lot of amazing albums on this podcast. Least favorite song does not mean it's a bad song. It's just the one that like stands out to you.
Resonates with you the least, or it feels like an outlier. Yeah, in the past we really just were like least favorite song. It's an outlier because, and it's not like, oh, I don't hate it, but something.
Backstreet's is somehow arguably the most impressive, especially from a storytelling perspective. Actually, one of the things I thought about while listening to it is how Springsteen, he tells stories very similarly to how Anthony Bourdain gives stories when he talks about food. Can I read a quote and you can tell me if you think it's Springsteen or Bourdain? Because I may have that. Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
I have two quotes and you can tell me which one is which. Okay. I took a walk through this beautiful world, felt the cold rain on my shoulder, found something good in this beautiful world. I felt the rain getting colder. Sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la, sha la 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 la. That's one. And the second one is, it's warm yellow glow, a beacon of hope and salvation, inviting the hungry, the lost, the seriously hammered all across the South to come inside, a place of safety and nourishment. It never closes. It is always, always faithful, always there for you.
Is it a trick?
It feels like a trick because the first quote you read is the lyrics to the song that is the theme song of Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown. And
I love that you know that.
My roommate, Summit, a friend of ours, is a serial Bourdain watcher. So
That's
it
so
comes
funny.
up. I mean,
You're correct.
He's
So
another
that's,
working class
so that's
legend.
not Springsteen. Or it is
And
Springsteen.
I feel like the second one also sounds like a Bourdain quote.
The word nourishment threw me off.
It's true. I thought about changing the word so it didn't seem like it was about food, but I find that there's a way that they use words that that feel grounded, but still like a little literary sometimes too.
They're both incredible scene setters. They really paint a picture of the setting. Like it's not just about what the food tastes like. It's not just about what the music sounds like, right? Like it's the world that it lives in the context of. And I see, they're both kind of like working class heroes, I guess, in a sense.
And Backstreet's does it, I think, the best on the album. It just happens to be the song that I connect with the least.
So it's interesting you said that. For my karaoke song, looping it back into categories, I picked Backstreet's or Born to Run as my karaoke songs.
For me, Born to Run is the no question karaoke choice.
Song.
It depends who I'm doing karaoke with. I have two answers. It's if I'm with friends, like just friends, and that's it. I'm doing Thunder Road because it's just the most beautiful.
Sure.
If I'm like in a crowd where I want like people to like not feel like I'm an idiot, then I'm probably choosing Born to Run.
Born to Run's the populist choice.
I mean, Born to Run has that excellent glockenspiel, and like there's not enough glockenspiel in rock music, frankly, and like I just would love to honorable mention the glockenspiel because I think that is awesome from them. I don't know who uses that in the band, but that is my Born to Run. Like,
I'll be honest, I
important
considered
fact.
it for least favorite.
It makes sense. Look,
I really considered it.
No.
Wow. It is the most famous song on this album, not only because it's the title album, I think also just because it has this, it's catchy, it's energizing, it's fun, and has like really
I think it's more accessible,
graspable
totally.
lyrics that are all about
Jinx, you owe me a soda.
aspirations.
Yes.
Later, we'll talk about it after the episode. But also a good segue into our next category, which is, can you road trip to this album?
For me, no. And I will tell you why. You're both looking at me like I'm insane. Hold on, everyone, let me speak. I find that the energy in this album goes up and down, takes a big dip after Born to Run and comes back with Jungleland. But the energy for me in a road trippable album needs to stay at a certain BPM. And if it's kind of all over the place and you're up and down, then I'm losing focus. And for me, it doesn't work. Sorry.
Can we go back to you saying that the energy goes down after Born to Run when they do She's the One, which is like, in my mind, it's the, like, She's the One is the song on the album that is, it's pretty much Grease, but Springsteen. Like the sax solo comes in and all I'm thinking is like people pouring out of a high school.
Okay, you're right. Let me retract. I would like to say energy changes. Yes, Isaac, you raised your hand.
No, I mean, I disagree wholeheartedly. I think this could be one of the most iconic road trip albums ever. But I see what you mean. I respect
the USA
it.
girl all the way.
I also would road trip to like Joni Mitchell's Blue, which is low energy.
Okay.
But
Also,
that's just me.
Let's talk about that in therapy.
What
I
kind
feel
of
like
road-
Depends
time,
where you're driving.
But
you know,
sure, to the morgue.
What kind of road trip is 38 minutes long, though? That's the other thing. It's like the album is so short. It's not really a road trip album because you're done before you make it to the highway.
yeah.
You're
But
right.
if you're on the aux Mac,
So-
Matt, it's you listen to Born to Run like 10 times in a row.
You're on a
I mean,
fish road
I
trip.
have done that, especially preparing for this. But one of the things, like, I told you the other day, or yesterday, I guess, was that what makes this album special to me is it feels like one of those TikTok videos where it starts, it gets to the end, and comes back to the beginning. You can't even tell that it started over again because there is such a feel from start to finish and back to the beginning again. It feels cyclical in that way.
It's a story, and when you said that to me before, I did say that for whatever reason, my algorithm, when this album finishes, takes me straight to Born in the USA. Maybe it knows that I like that Springsteen album more. And every time Jungle Land ends and it puts on a song from Born in the USA, I get more excited. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I realize, oh, Born to Run ended and I need to go back and start it over again.
Well, that's we can blame the Spotify algorithm for that. That there's no
For
repeat
leading
full
me
album
astray.
option, or maybe there is. Maybe I just don't
There
know
might
about
be.
it. But
There probably is.
There is.
I agree with
It
you.
was a repeat album, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna seek it out. But I do agree with you, Matt. And I think, like we talked about before, how this album kind of charts the arc of a day, and that's what it is to wake up and live your life and go to bed. Is that there's always
Maybe half the
Next
credit
morning.
of that, though, is how wonderful of a song Thunder Road is. I mean, it's just a great start
True.
to an album. Because
True.
sometimes albums start off a bit slower. This is boom, punch. We're here. Great song. But if it makes anyone feel better, my favorite lyrics are from She's the One, which I had said was, a slower song. I guess I didn't mean slow. The energy changes, though. It shifts
fair.
in a way that for me is not road trippable, or I just don't like this album enough despite respecting what it did for Bruce's career. But I'll read my favorite lyrics from She's the One. With her killer graces and her secret places that no boy can fill, with her hands on her hips, oh, and that smile on her lips, etc., etc. I don't know, it just I liked it. There is plenty of honorable mentions in this album. I mean, Bruce is great.
he writes about women with much more grace and poetry than the last album we covered
Yeah,
on the podcast.
For sure.
You
It's
can
not a
can
hard-
maybe cut that bit. I don't know if that's relevant.
And
but-
as he goes on through his career, he also talks like that relationship. He talks about the way he writes about it becomes a lot clearer and more mature in a
He
good
seems to
way.
understand women more than other musicians at his time.
So you're
I'll
saying
just say
you're
that.
saying a 24-year-old just didn't know everything?
Matt, don't get me started on 40-year-old men, let alone 24-year-olds.
All right,
But-
let's lighten the mood.
Moving
What song are you
forward,
putting on?
yeah.
You get the aux at a party. What song from this album are you putting on?
Do I want to kill the party or do I want to set the party off?
Set the party off, Matt. What are you giving us?
Oh, honestly, if I'm trying to set the party off, it's either Born to Run or She's the One. I think She's the One is such a bop. Also, 10th Avenue Freeze-Up, but a live one in a different way.
The guy that puts on a live track at the party.
I would never do
You're
that.
talking to two Fish fans, so that's
I know.
not out of the question.
I could also be a Fish fan, please.
Julie's a future Fish fan. My favorite lyric, some of them have already come up in this episode, like
Mhm.
"Don't run back inside, darling. You know just what I'm here for. So you're scared and you're thinking that maybe we ain't that young anymore. Show a little faith. There's magic in the night. You ain't a beauty, but hey, you're all right." Like
Yeah.
gorgeous. And also,
I did double take.
I'll pull one from Born to Run, which again, like the populist choice, but for good reason. Wendy, let me in. I want to be your friend. I want to guard your dreams and visions. Just wrap your legs around these velvet rims and strap your hands across my
This
engine.
is why we need video for the
Oh,
podcast.
God, yeah, Matt is-
Everyone-
Wendy, we can live with the sadness.
Levels off the chart.
Madness in my soul. Oh,
Yeah,
God,
like-
I love.
It's just
Oh my God.
there's a, I don't know, like electricity is the word that comes to mind as I talk
Yeah.
about and think about this album. Like what a beautiful combining of like young love and yearning for the road and sort of like nothing but the clothes in your back and the chopper under your thighs. Like what a the girl
As you
holding
take
your
off from
waist.
Nom,
Like
yeah.
sorry, what were you saying about this being an album for boys? Anyways,
that kind of brings me into what is this album as
Wait, do I get
a
to say my
beverage?
favorite lyrics?
Go for it, if you must.
If I must.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, of course.
I mean, I may or may not have written 4 down, but I'll try to
All
pick
right,
one.
that's what I figured.
Yeah, I know. I mean, some of them are quick. Like Jungerland, there's no better line to me. Like I said, I think it's the most like impressive song I've ever put out.
I agree.
The line "Beneath the city, 2 hearts beat, soul engines running through a night so tender." Every time I hear it, and like you talk about the part of the song that you kind of lose interest, like that's when I pick up my most interest. Is that line comes on, it's a little softer after the sax solo, and that's like the final push to the end of this album that like, yeah, like maybe we're in a desperate place, but that's okay. Like I thought like going to Thunder Road, Roy Orbison sang it for the lonely. Hey, that's me and I want you only, don't turn me home again. I just can't face myself alone again. It's like, first of all, he like talks about this album that he wanted to sound like Roy Orbison singing Bob Dylan with the Phil Spector sound. So I think it's interesting that he like name checks Orbison, who like he like clearly like loved, especially as a young kid.
It's an homage.
But the one quote I actually want to talk about the most is from Night, because it's like the one song we haven't talked about, and one of the ones that is probably the least known on the album.
I put that as my least favorite and then changed it to Meeting Across the River, actually.
I also thought about making Night my favorite song. There's something about the energy in it that I love, but I love the line, and the world is busting at its seams, and you're just a prisoner of your dreams, holding on for your life, because you work all day to blow them away in the night.
If that's not what this entire album's about, I don't know what is. I mean, that's like a thesis statement line right there.
Completely.
You know?
It's like during the day you're working your ass off trying to get what you're trying to
working
get,
class.
and then like you kind of just fuck up at night, and that's okay.
Yeah, you run sad and free until all you can see is the night.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Julia, you had a question.
Oh, what is this album as a beverage?
Let me kick this off.
Please.
This is a lukewarm Bud Light from a cooler in the back of a Chevy.
That's so offensive.
I said Budweiser.
It's so fucking offensive.
You say that like there's nothing better after a hard day at the
Than a
factory.
lukewarm. Who wants a lukewarm beer?
Well,
I don't know. It's just like I wouldn't.
I'm with you. Sometimes there's something comforting, like we're
Yeah.
all suffering through this together with our lukewarm beer.
Man, I've gushed about how much I love this album for like an hour. Don't take my drink comparison.
And what you came out from was like, no, I want a beer that's actually not optimal temperature.
Better than no beer.
Yeah.
Is it? I
Well,
disagree.
for me, no, but for most people, yes.
All right, fine. A cold beer from a
Thank
cooler
you. Okay,
in the
better.
back of a Chevy.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
All right. What about
He
you?
was about
What
to
about you
unplug
guys?
all the microphones.
Tantrum Matt.
I have a quote tied to this also, because
Okay.
this is apparently what
Hit
I do.
us.
I wanted to make the greatest rock album that's I ever heard. I wanted to sound enormous. I wanted to grab you by the throat, insist that you take that ride, insist you pay attention, not just to the music, but just to life, to feeling alive, to being alive. And I don't know if that is better than a shot of tequila. It like fucking hits you in the face in a way
Whoa.
that, while it's not a lot of alcohol, 38-minute runtime, right? It's like hits you in the face and you're like, all right, let's go. Now we're done. Next, what's next? Like, and that's how this album feels. It's like you're not wasting any time. There's no, all you're doing
Tequila
is just,
is not a time waster, I'll tell you that.
It's not a time waster. Yeah, I think our
but it
drink-
hits you in the face. It makes you go, whoa.
I mean, sure, there's no better way to fuck up your evening than by doing a shot of tequila, or when someone offers you one and you think to yourself, no, and then it's in your hand and you're like, all
then it's in
right,
your
and then your
mouth.
night is over.
All right,
But-
Julia, what about you?
I said Budweiser.
Oh, yeah.
That I wrote, quote,
Yeah.
I'm going with Budweiser. It just
She's
is.
going with Budweiser.
Even the color scheme. I mean, for me, it just matches.
If it's not alcohol though, I would have thought maybe it's orange juice. Like freshly squeezed orange juice where
Pulp
you
or
feel
no
that
pulp?
definitely with some pulp.
Is it
It's like
Tropicana?
there's some sharpness to it.
Sunny D.
But you understand it's like the OG. It's based on something from your youth probably in some way. You like feel a connection
Interesting.
to it.
Uh-huh.
But like it hits you and you're like, that was fucking good.
Okay.
You needed it in that moment.
Can you play any of these songs at a funeral?
Let's be honest. Any album, any song can be a funeral song if like the person who
You're weird
died
enough.
was obsessed with Bruce Springsteen. You know, if,
But maybe not
Just
from this album.
just
I
playing
don't know.
Slayer
Yeah.
at a funeral.
yeah,
Some people might.
I'm sure they do.
I'm sure it's happened.
I'm sure they've played at a funeral too.
Maybe.
The other song I think that might work at a funeral is, at least vibe-wise, is Meeting Across the River. It just like
I agree.
has something about the trumpet that feels a little somber.
Yeah.
And like, you don't need to really listen to the words at a funeral. Like, you're probably more sad than thinking about lyrical themes.
Don't agree, but I understand your point and just agree about the song choice.
Before we wrap this up and give our own personal ratings for this album, I just wanted to mention that in terms of like legacy and
Are you going to talk about Pitchfork?
No, I wasn't going to talk about Pitchfork. You're welcome to if you want. I was going to talk about Rolling Stone magazine, which has this ad number 21 on the greatest albums of all time.
Wow.
So
wait, do you know if any Springsteen albums are higher than that, or is this the highest?
I believe this is the highest.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm sure that Born in the USA is also on there.
That's just my personal favorite,
yeah.
but I'm not in, like...
I actually think it's my personal favorite too,
Ooh.
but...
I'm not upset if it's not higher. I understand why this album is so important. I get it.
It's the birth of the cult of Bruce. It's
Yeah.
like beyond everything else, it's like the album where Springsteen says, "I'm fucking here," and people notice.
Listen.
Totally.
And like,
he grabbed you by the throat, like he said he would.
Right.
It's no small thing that within 2 months of this album coming out, that he's on the cover of Newsweek and Time,
Yeah, of course.
which no rock star had ever done at that point. Like, and obviously in the 70s,
Maybe the
those things
Beatles,
mattered.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
The writer Peter Ames Carlin said that this album captures the essence of 50s rock and roll and the beatnik poetries of 60s folk rock projected onto the battered spirit of mid-70s America. And it that speaks to this multi-genre influence, different sounds from different eras, like the fact that it's steeped in Americana but still feels fresh and electric. Like I agree.
And don't sleep on two major cultural things that perhaps this album led to, which are if this album doesn't succeed, he possibly doesn't ever record Dancing in the Dark, which maybe doesn't launch the career of the inevitable Courtney Cox and Friends. Like, how does that affect Friends? Unclear. Also,
whoa, this is some real heady.
Just wait. Oh, I got another one.
All right,
too.
give us the next one.
And the last one is, if Steve Van Zandt doesn't come and arrange the horns on 10th Avenue Freeze Out, doesn't get on The Sopranos, does he get the lead in Lilyhammer? And does that create the beginning of original programming on Netflix? Unclear. I don't know.
So many great questions.
The world will never know. What we will know is, Matt, what is your rating out of 10 for this album?
3 million out of 10. No notes.
Amazing. Julia?
7. Pitchfork gave it a 10. I wish you could have seen my face when I opened the webpage, but...
Can't always trust Pitchfork. I've landed at a strong 9 out of 10. I mean, I would be happy to listen to this album.
What's missing for you?
Me? Like I said, this is an album for boys, I think. I'm
Touché.
sure there's plenty of women that love Springsteen. I like Bruce Springsteen. Don't get me wrong. I don't really relate to the themes. I love a lot of the music. Some of them sounded similar to me. It was hard for me to distinguish between some of the songs. I don't like the energy dip. There's a couple songs I would cut. I just don't like them or don't care about them. And yeah, I don't know. Okay, I have one final question. So Bruce Springsteen is the ultimate boss. Who here is the boss?
Julia.
Come on, you asked that question
No, it
because
was
you
a
just wanted
trick
to hear it
question.
out
Just
loud.
checking that everyone knows their
Listener,
place.
Julia is the boss. And on that note,
I would love to wrap it up.
thanks for tuning in to For the Record.
You can find us on Instagram at @for_the_record_podcast.
Our Instagram also has a link where you can submit any albums you'd like to hear us cover in the future.
We can't promise we'll get to all of them, but we'll take everything into consideration.
You can also shoot us an email at 4 as in the number, D as in the letter, recordpodcast@gmail.com. That's 4D recordpodcast@gmail.com.
And give us a follow and a 5-star rating on your podcast platform of choice. And remember to tune in next week for a brand new episode.
We'll see you there.
Bye.
1, 2, 3, 4. I think he's the greatest rock counter of all
He's
time.
great.
I don't think there's a single